I'm Keaton Wallace. I'm Javon Jackson, and we're from UTSA, and we're taking on Western Kentucky.
Old school meets new school, the Alamo on Facebook. This is CBS Sports Network on Facebook Watch from San Antonio. A matchup between the two preseason favorites in Conference USA. UTSA hosting a Western Kentucky team that's a game out of first with one game to go before bonus play begins next Saturday. UTSA is in Group 2. They can finish anywhere from the top of Group 2 to the bottom of Group 2, and we'll explain bonus play as we move on here if you're not familiar in just a moment. I'm Chris Hassel, joined by really the mayor of San Antonio, Avery Johnson, back in the old stomping grounds. And Avery, no commercials today on Facebook. You're going to have an opportunity to take us through your old haunts.
I'm so excited to be back in San Antonio. Chris, I feel like partying like it's 1999. That was the first year we won the first championship for the San Antonio Spurs. It's a thrill to see some old friends, meet some new friends, and I'm really excited about this game because Western Kentucky, they're going to have their hands full with UTSA today.
Good atmosphere inside the building tonight. Now, if you're new to the Facebook experience, no commercials, plenty of comments. And if you do comment, use that hashtag WKUVSUTSA if you want to send a picture or video to potentially be featured on air. If you don't want any comments, if you just want to watch the game, that's fine. Swipe right on your mobile device to remove the comments and reactions. Western Kentucky is a team that's won 8 of 10. They're doing it with grit and guts and really only 6 players. Tavion Hollingsworth leads the way.
Tavion Hollingsworth is a very impressive player. With the injury to their best player, Charles Bassett, being out this year, he's a guy that's done it in a different way. He's not a real three-point shooter. He's a slasher. He's more of a mid-range shooter. He can make a three every now and then, but he's going to do his damage primarily in the paint, and they're going to need him to score 20 points today to have a chance to win.
Making his 98th consecutive start today. UTSA, on the other hand, has the second most prolific duo in the country, led by the number 2 scorer in the country. Javon Jackson scored 46 points against this Western Kentucky team last season.
Yeah, Vince Lombardi had a quote, talked about practice make perfect, but no, it's perfect practice that makes you perfect. And he's gotten so much better according to the coaching staff and the way he's practicing, and he's a prolific scorer. He's always in perpetual motion, coming off staggers. He's a really good pick and roll player. He can get his shot off at any time. Just fun to watch when you got a guy that's not 6'11".
And his Robin is Keaton Wallace, who's second in Conference USA in scoring, right behind his teammate.
Again, it all started for him in the offseason. He's gained about 20 pounds. He's about 185 pounds now. Came in at 160. He's done a really nice job of being that Robin. You know, a lefty, can get his own shot, but just a tough kid. Really love how he competes every minute of the game. He's a player that the coaching staff can always count on every single night.
One of the things we'll be doing throughout the afternoon is polling you, the Facebook viewer, who's going to be today's leading scorer. We asked you throughout the week. More Western Kentucky fans, I think, voting. Tavion Hollingsworth, 63% of the vote compared to the second leading scorer in the country. Now, we did get a comment from a Western Kentucky fan who was pretty honest. John says, UTSA relies on Jackson much more than Western Kentucky relies on Hollingsworth. Jackson wins the scoring battle. Western Kentucky wins the game. Go Tops. Keep those comments coming as we send it to the third member of our crew, Ashley Holder, who caught up with Rick Stansbury, the head coach of Western Kentucky.
Thanks, Chris. All right, Coach, you're coming off the longest trip of your season. Now to face a tough UTSA team, it's been a long season, again, just draining. What's the overall health of your team right now?
Well, again, you know, you wouldn't worry about the long trip much. You wasn't playing a good team. That's what you got to worry about. And we're playing a very good San Antonio team. You know, we're kind of like we've been. At least we have Cam back. So that gives us our 6th guy we've been playing. You know, our guys are finding ways to fight through things and situations, and, you know, it gets to be a long season. No question that Saturday game is a more difficult game for us because of lack of depth. It's a pretty quick turnaround, so we got our challenge cut out for us today.
And you talk about a challenge. San Antonio has the nation's second leading scorer in Javon Jackson. How do you contain him for 40 minutes today?
Well, I don't know if anybody's contained him. That's why he's second leading scorer in the country. You know, and Wallace is a sidekick, about as good. So they're difficult to defend. I think it's very obvious they're going to get their points. No one has shut them down. We can't let those other guys beat us. Can't let those other guys beat us with second chance points. We got to limit those kind of baskets, which they just came off a game where they had 27 offensive rebounds.
All right, Ashley, thank you. As we take a look at the lineups for tonight's game, one note, Cameron Justice starting for the second straight time for Western Kentucky. Usually their sixth man, but Josh Anderson's been battling an illness all week. They say he's better, but hasn't really practiced all week. And for UTSA, Byron Fronin making his 127th consecutive start. That's a program record. For Steve Henson, with a 500 record here at UTSA, 63-63. Won the Conference USA Coach of the Year award 2 seasons ago. Ready to go from San Antonio. These teams met twice last season. Both games went to overtime. Both games were won by Western Kentucky, but both games were in Bowling Green, Kentucky. UTSA controlling the opening tip, Avery. Let's get it going, baby.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see from a defensive standpoint how long Western Kentucky can afford to stay in man-to-man. Coach Rick Stansberry talked about playing multiple defenses today to try to slow down Jackson and Wallace.
Shot clock to 6. There's Keaton Wallace, and that's a really good start considering the game he had here on Thursday. Yes, they beat Marshall, but he was 3 for 19 from the floor.
Yeah, and 0 for 10 from behind the three-point line, which is not normal for him. He's an outstanding three-point shooter. It's good to see your first one go in.
And a good shooting gym, I would imagine, Avery. These tight backdrops. Carson Williams, the offensive rebound. Now, these fans here at UTSA saw a bunch of offensive rebounds on Thursday. The Roadrunners had a school record 27 of them.
A lot of times when you get 27 offensive rebounds, that tells the story that you're not really efficient from the field.
And again, they did get that win over Marshall. Western Kentucky won on the road at UTEP, and they're on the board here this afternoon. 2-2.
Now you can see Western Kentucky changing up their defense. Little 1-2-2 half-court trap.
Using that 1-2-2 quite a bit over the last few games, and they've forced a bunch of turnovers near midcourt when they trap. Shot clock again winding down. Hollingsworth got his hand on it. Jackson got it back and scores it.
And a lot of times with the 1-2-2, that's what you don't want. You're trying to force the other three guys to score, not name Jackson and Wallace. So they weren't successful and can't allow them to split the trap.
Cameron Justice misfires on the 3. It's 1 and done for Western Kentucky.
UTSA, you know, really an up-tempo team, so they want to get in their offense as fast as they can.
Wallace missed, but Jacob Germany was there to get a hand on it. It went out off Germany, and it's to Western Kentucky.
Whenever you're trying to trap on a pick and roll, the worst thing you can allow to happen is what we call a split. He split the defense there, went behind his back, and was successful in that play. So that's something that in the first time out, Coach Stansberry, he's going to talk to his team about their pick and roll defense.
Carson Williams calling for it. That's one of the things that Stansberry told us they don't do much. Throw it in the paint. Williams is going to get to the free throw line as we take a look at Avery Johnson's keys to the game.
Well, you know, if you're Western Kentucky, you have to win the rebound game. You have to win the rebound game on the road. If they got to get 4 guys in double figures, if they get 4 guys in double figures, then that can equal a win. And then, you know, from UTSA, have to get some help for their top 2 scorers. Who's going to emerge as that third scorer? And those guys going to be able to produce some offense, especially if they can get out and run in the fast break and get some transition baskets.
Oh, a couple rare misses from Carson Williams, who's just under 80% on the season. Wallace finds Eric Zumbel. Misfires on that. Hollingsworth high for the rebound, and tracking it down is Jared Savage. Hollingsworth open for three, and he hits it. That's one of the things he hasn't done much of this season. Rick Stansbury said he's only made 7, 8 threes all year. He's under 30%, but he was left open.
Yeah, and that takes his game to a whole another level. If he can make some threes to go along with his slashing ability, you know, he's a hard-nosed driver in the basket. That's going to help elevate Western Kentucky's offense to another level.
Jackson rattles home the three. You might have seen the note off the top. Jackson entered the game just 26 points from becoming UTSA's all-time leading scorer. He's now 21 away with 5 quick points.
Well, if he stays on this pace, he may break the record in the first half if they don't play better defense on him in that situation.
Well, he had 45 in a game against Old Dominion last week and had 28 at halftime. So he's certainly capable. Used the head fake, creates for his teammate. Cronin missed it, got it back, and that's a goaltend. Yes, you're right, Avery. That hit the backboard first, and even though that wasn't going to go in, it's goaltending by definition.
I'm surprised early on, not how Jackson is scoring, but how they're allowing him to get the ball back once he passes the ball. Once he passes the ball and distributes the ball, and he's one pass away, it's very important to try to deny him. You know, the way you slow down a scorer is minimize his attempts. And the way you try to minimize his attempts is minimize his catches.
So you're saying even though he might pass the ball, that you stick right with him?
Force him to find somebody else.
Carson Williams can shoot that, bricks it, but an offensive rebound to Tavion Hollingsworth. Second offensive rebound of the game for the Hilltoppers, and Hollingsworth makes another one. He's got 5 points early, just like Jackson, as he runs into Cameron Justice, who commits the foul. And that takes us to our first media timeout with UTSA leading 9-7 thanks to those 5 points from Javon Jackson. But again, this is Facebook. No commercials here on Facebook Watch. We appreciate you joining us. Again, swipe right if you don't want the comments. Here is the list coming into the game today. Javon Jackson already with 5 points. So he only needs 21 more to catch Devin Brown and become the all-time leading scorer in UTSA history. It's a record that has stood since 2002. As we send it over to the third member of our team, Ashley Holder.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, there's a YouTube video floating around ever since high school on Javon Jackson, actually calling him the Puerto Rican Allen Iverson. I talked to him about this name after practice yesterday, and he told me he actually doesn't like it. Now, he sees the comparisons because he likes to come off the screens. He shoots well. He's really quick on his feet, but he doesn't think he's worth being called Allen Iverson, the 11th time NBA All-Star just yet. Now, he does like being called Javon, though. Now, Allen Iverson is his favorite player, and he actually works to mimic the things that AI does, and it's paid off because Javon averages almost 30 points per game and is the nation's second leading scorer at only 6 feet. He said that earlier. Now, one of the games that actually put Javon on the map, we talked about this, was that 46-point performance, but he put together against Western Kentucky last season the second most points on Conference USA history. Now, he told me he was just in the zone that game, and that's the way he hopes to be today, leaving the final regular season game with a win against a top-notch WKU squad.
And Ashley is off to a good start this afternoon. Couple of buckets, one of them a three-pointer, 5 quick points, and the Roadrunners are up.
Yeah, whenever he can split the pick and roll, get inside the paint, he does such a magnificent job of knowing, you know, when to get his shot off. They need him to get his shot off as much as possible tonight.
Well, he's not shy. Has 23 more three-pointers than any other Conference USA player, averaging 3.6 per game, 95 total, counting the first one he's already hit. And he's also going to become the all-time single-season leading scorer for UTSA, likely today.
And talking about the Puerto Rican AI, I know who the real Puerto Rican AI is J.J. Barea, the Dallas Mavericks point guard. He's in his 16th year, 35 years old. I remember when he was an undrafted free agent out of Northeastern.
Well, Western Kentucky dodged a bullet there. It looked like it was going to be an easy bucket for the Roadrunners, but they blow it underneath. Now Western Kentucky into the half-court offense.
And when they're in the half-court offense, they want to be really deliberate. You're going to see a lot of backdoor cuts. They won't shoot early in the shot clock unless it's on the break.
Jordan Rawls with the wedgie, and the possession arrow will keep it with Western Kentucky. Josh Anderson is into the game for the first time, wearing number 4 for Western Kentucky. He had been starting until he got sick. The possession arrow was pointing Western Kentucky's way. Everyone thought, on the court anyway, that it was going to be UTSA's ball, but it is Western Kentucky basketball, and there's Josh Anderson.
This is a big point of emphasis at shoot-around this morning, defending the underneath out-of-bounds plays. Did a nice job there early on, but not once the ball came in bounds.
Hollingsworth initiating that contact and getting to the free throw line for a couple.
A lot of times fouls in that situation, you got to stay in position. Got to stay in between your man and the basket. Didn't do a good job there.
Officiating crew today of Kelly Davis, Tommy Short, and Bill Jacobson. They're going to take a look at something here. We're not quite sure what it is yet. We'll pass it along to you as soon as we find out. Take a look at this last play, and Makani Whiteside of UTSA getting hit in the eye by the elbow of Hollingsworth.
Yeah.
I think they were just looking to see if there was anything flagrant about that. Obviously not.
And I'm glad the review didn't take 15 minutes.
Yeah, they looked at it for about 2 seconds, and that was that. They're getting a little faster since you were roaming the sidelines in Tuscaloosa.
Yes. It's amazing how nice the referees are to me before the game.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have to worry about me staying inside the coach's box.
Was that an issue for you?
That was an issue.
Now we got him tied down to the chair here on the baseline. Can't go anywhere. Tied up at 9, 5 minutes into this game. Western Kentucky, 1 game behind North Texas for first place in Conference USA. Wallace! But Hollingsworth quickly the other way. The adjustment midair, and it'll stay with Western Kentucky. That one went out of bounds off A10 Bior. Let's take a look at Wallace getting to the rack.
And we talked about getting out in the break, fast break points. Nice shifty move. Kid's done a magnificent job. Student of the game.
A shove called as Tavion Hollingsworth had good position off that inbounds pass. Looked like he wanted to shoot it initially and then went to pass it midair, so it's not going to be a shooting foul.
Well, Hollingsworth is just overly aggressive to start this game. I think he's thinking that he can't have as much separation in terms of the amount of points he scores tonight and the amount of points that Javon Jackson scores.
He had a couple rough games last week. Had 8 points in each win over Louisiana Tech and Southern Miss. They won both of those games, but you're right. Been very aggressive in the early going.
So Western Kentucky is staying true to the form. 3-quarter court press. Now they're back in man-to-man.
And here's Jackson with it. Finds Luka Barisic open for 3. You said he was a key factor in today's game, maybe as that third scorer.
And that was picture-perfect defense right there, getting the ball out of Jackson's hands, forcing somebody else to score.
Nice move by Jordan Rawls to get that bucket for Western Kentucky. Tied this game up at 11. That's 2 fouls for Makani Whiteside, coming off perhaps his best game as a road runner. 6.7 rebounds in the win over Marshall on Thursday. Jared Savage gets the bounce.
Love Jared Savage's body. A big guard. Said he's the glue guy. Best communicator on the team.
And comes up with the steal. Rawls finds Savage in the corner.
Got a mismatch here with the big guy.
Takes a 19-footer and misses short. There's Barisic again, not shy, but he's 0 for 2. 2 open looks.
He's got to continue to shoot because they're going to live, Western Kentucky's going to live with him shooting the basketball. They don't think that he can beat him, but they know Jackson can beat him.
Here's Williams, one-on-one with Barisic. Lowers the shoulder, then fades away, and he gets the roll. 10-2 run for Western Kentucky.
That was a mistake on defense by UTSA because shoot-around they worked on forcing him back to his left hand. They don't want him dribbling with his right hand in that situation.
And now Barisic again, guarded by Savage. This time he's going to back down. Great look underneath to Bior, but ends up in bad position. And here's Keaton Wallace slicing. Josh Anderson, that's what he does best. Runs the floor, gets to the hoop. They don't waste any time, even after makes.
So yes, in this situation, that's a defensive mistake. You want to force him a little bit earlier to his left hand so that they can get more help on defense.
15-13. Western Kentucky on top here with 11:58 to go here in the first half. Tavion Hollingsworth leads all scorers with 7 points so far. 2 of 3 from the floor. He's made his only 3-point attempt. Let's introduce you to Tavion Hollingsworth, the leading scorer on this Western Kentucky team.
My name is Tavion Hollingsworth. I'm a junior guard here at Western Kentucky. I'm originally from Pontiac, Michigan, and I moved to Lexington, Kentucky when I was 7. What made me fall in love with basketball was my mom and my dad. I'm not only chasing that scoring title or whatever, but I want to bring a championship back here.
Yeah, Western Kentucky hasn't won a regular season championship since 2009. They're a game behind North Texas with 1 game to go before bonus play. North Texas playing right now against Old Dominion, and North Texas has a 16-point lead at home, so they're likely going to get the #1 seed in bonus play. Western Kentucky probably going to have to go to Denton for a rematch against a North Texas team that they beat in Western Kentucky earlier on this season. Now Hollingsworth leads all scorers with 7 points. He's been uber aggressive in the early going, Avery.
And he got it going from behind the three-point line. We talked in the open about how he's more of a driver, mid-range player. But when you can set your game up like he did with a wide-open 3 and build your confidence, then he can potentially explode the rest of this game.
Looks like he's going to get a rare breather, perhaps.
And I just love, you know, this kid's shooting 86% from the free throw line. Not enough is being said about kids and rewarding them when they're solid from behind the line.
This Western Kentucky team, one of the best free throw shooting teams in the country. 78.5%. That's 7th in the nation. Josh Anderson, not a shooter, but even he's good at the line, 76%.
Yeah, that's today's game. That is really good. But Coach Stansberry said Hollingsworth, he's wired to score. He was born to score the basketball.
Fans from all over the conference watching. We can always count on Marshall fans to be watching. Frank is a Marshall fan. I'm sure he's watching, rooting against Western Kentucky. He says, go Herd. And again, if you don't want the comments, swipe them away off to the right side of the screen. Or if you're watching on a laptop or computer, just go full screen. Western Kentucky scored on 6 of their last 7 possessions on a 12-4 run. Jackson fading away. Ooh, that was a tough shot.
Jackson ceases to amaze me how he can just get his shot off anytime he wanted. especially against single coverage.
But he's only taken 3 shots so far. He's made all of them. Justice off the mark, and Isaiah Cozart, who rarely plays off the bench, is called for the over-the-back foul with 11:13 to play here in the first half. Ashley Holder, what do you have for us?
Yeah, and that last time out, Coach Henson was not happy with that Western Kentucky 10-2 run. He stressed that in the last time out that every time they score, we've got to get back to the other end. He's yelling, transition defense is key. Chris?
Well, that didn't work out well. Steve Henson's like, oh, that's gotta be on Western Kentucky or something like that. Let's take a look. What do you think, Avery? Anderson?
Yes, yeah. He was moving at the end.
You got to give him a step. That's one of the initiatives from the officials this season is on a screen. You can't do a blind screen, and you got to give them at least a step to make an adjustment.
And that's why when you're the screener, you have to come to a 2-foot jump stop and don't move. That's the simplest way to teach it.
Well, they get the Hollingsworth miss, and here's Jackson. Still hasn't missed. See if he starts hunting that shot a little more. Gets the switch. Fades away. High arcer, way short. Justice head up, pushing it. Alley-oop.
Yep.
Anderson, no, but a foul.
Outstanding no-look pass on the break. Basically manipulated the defense, thinking that they were going to attempt the three-point shot. I love no-look passes.
Do you? A lot of coaches hate them.
Oh, I love them. I love no-look passes, especially when they're completed.
Sure. Got to be completed.
Not the turnovers. Or in another sport called football, you call it an interception.
Unless it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I'm a Drew Brees fan, by the way.
You think he's coming back?
He's coming back.
All right, you heard it here first. Avery
running
Johnson
it back, 13-3.
Drew Brees is coming back to the Saints. All right, Western Kentucky does a ton of their damage at the free throw line. They're 6 of 8 so far, and UTSA hasn't even gotten to the line.
And what about Tom Brady?
Well, you tell me. You know about Drew Brees. Brady's got to be coming back, and he's got to be coming back to the Patriots, right?
He's going to the Chargers.
I know they're going to try to get him.
Yeah.
Byron Fronin, little runner off the glass. No touch there. Just a line drive, and here comes Hollingsworth. It's a screen from Williams. Lost his dribble. Jared Savage, 50% his last 7 games from deep, and you see why. He got bumped to the deck, no call, and still makes it.
Boy, he's just got a sweet stroke. He can make threes from 2 or 3 steps behind the three-point line. You got to basically guard him when he steps off the bus. He's that prolific from behind the line.
Largest lead of the game for the Hilltoppers. Lead by 7 midway through the first half. Jackson, the bounce inside. Adrian Rodriguez may have gotten away with a shuffling of the feet. It's a blocking foul called on Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Mr. Rodriguez has had some problems with his feet today. He was moving on an offensive foul, and now, could have gotten away with a travel. But Savage is a guy that the coaching staff say, we trust him. We have the ultimate confidence in him.
Jackson has missed his last 2 after a 3-for-3 start. Hollingsworth probing, initiating the contact again. Missed everything, and it's out of bounds to UTSA.
Nice defense that time by Zumbel.
Kid from Italy. Eric Zumbel. They were 0 for 5 to start the season. Then they inserted Zumbel into the lineup. 12 and 9 since. Rodriguez, you're right, he is having some issues.
And that's a perfect example of what I was talking about. When Jackson is 1 pass away, deny him the basketball. That was perfect defense. See right here, Hollingsworth did a magnificent job. And now you're forcing a big guy that's probably not a great passer to try to make a decision.
That's 3 turnovers for the Roadrunners. Western Kentucky hasn't committed a turnover yet. A week ago today, they completed the game with just 3 turnovers against Southern Miss. Fewest in a game since the early 70s. as Wallace ties up Williams inside. The possession arrow goes to UTSA.
I think they have to do a better job of finding Savage here against the zone. In that situation, Williams had two guys around him. Savage was open, little pump fake to Williams, back to Savage for three, and that's what Coach Stansbury was telling Hollingsworth. Throw the ball to the open man.
Well, Zumbel was open, and he knocks it down. UTSA is back within 4, 8.5 minutes to play here in the first half.
I know we're going to try to say it different ways, but UTSA desperately needs a third score.
Mitchell rooting on the Tops from Colorado. Thanks for checking in with us on Facebook Watch, Mitchell. Justice guarded by Jackson. Savage from 30 feet. Oh, he hits it.
Was that from 30 feet or the parking lot?
You were right. You're like, he'll shoot it from anywhere in the gym. 5, 6, 7 steps behind the line. Now, he had to shoot that one with the shot clock winding down, but made it look effortless. Jackson gets a look. And Savage pulls down the rebound.
The challenge sometimes with such a great scorer like Jackson, everybody else standing around and not moving or cutting.
Wallace, alley-oop,
nice
Germany
pass.
stuffs it. Jacob Germany out of Kingston, Oklahoma, the highest rated recruit in UTSA history, 4-star prospect, and a true freshman as he tries to guard Williams, does a good job of it. They get another stop. Now Jackson double teamed, picked up the dribble, and then Justice poked it away.
I love Germany's size. He can just help give them an inside presence. Takes UTSA a long way.
It's one of the advantages they have in this game against Western Kentucky. They've got some bigs. Western does not. 3 in the corner! Keaton Wallace just threw that one up as he was going out of bounds and the shot clock was winding down. 2-point game.
Looked like a ballerina on that pass.
Toe tapping. They average about 10 made threes a game. They've made 3 of them so far. Backdoor, Anderson flushes.
That's Western Kentucky's offense. Backdooring, their big guys are really good passers.
Under 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Starting to get into a little bit more of a flow here the last couple of minutes. Wallace in and out. Germany got his hand on it, but Savage able to run it down. And now Western Kentucky will slow it down. Get a little bit of a breather. When you only go about 6 deep, you need to take a few breathers, especially in the second game in 48 hours. Anderson missed it, but Williams the rebound. It didn't hit anything. And Williams gets hit himself. Gets fouled with 5:26 to go.
And
Savage from the tee in UTSA.
nice pass on the alley-oop here.
Byron Fronin lucked out there because Wallace was in the right spot, and then Josh Anderson going back door for the flush. Western Kentucky a 27-23 lead with 5:26 to go here in the first half. We are a day removed from Valentine's Day. Avery brought the wife down from your home in Dallas to San Antonio, visited one of your old haunts, took her out for a Valentine's Day dinner. That had to be nice for you, right?
I'm sorry you didn't make the cut for dinner last night.
That's all right. I ate by myself. I was just moseying along the Riverwalk all alone.
When you've been married for 29 years, normally I try to give her a rose. for every year we've been married. So Valentine's Day has become very expensive now. So I had to get 29
more than 2
roses.
dozen roses.
Yes.
Wow.
And
well,
you didn't contribute to the Rose Fund.
No, I did not. But I'm getting up there as well. 13 years almost with my beautiful wife, Kristen. How about in basketball? Let's do a little Valentine's Day theme. Who do you love in college hoops?
Well, I love Obi Toppin. Here's a guy that I think can be National Player of the Year. Give Coach Anthony Grant, he's done a magnificent job with the Dayton Flyers. I had one of their games earlier in the year. And playing hard to get. Penn State Nittany Lions, this team is explosive. You know, they've been trying to make it to the tournament for the last 9 years. This is their breakthrough year. And then Baylor Bears, led by Jared Butler, a kid out of the New Orleans area. This is a team that's not as strong inside, so I'm hoping for all the Baylor Bears fans that they don't break their heart come tournament time.
They got a tough one today at home against number 14 West Virginia. Baylor with just 1 loss by 3 to Washington back on November the 8th. All right, we want to get you involved here on Facebook Watch. What's the best Valentine's Day gift? Candy, flowers, something from the heart, or basketball tickets? What do you think, Avery?
Definitely flowers.
Should have known that. 29, is that what you said? 29 roses?
Yeah, definitely flowers.
Well, next year it'll be.
I don't know about, as much
30.
as I love basketball, I don't know if that'd fly in my household. Basketball tickets.
Especially for you. I mean, you could probably get any basketball tickets you want for free, and your wife knows that. Hey, I want to remind you that you can turn off the comments at the bottom of your screen by swiping right on your mobile device.
What do you think the answer is?
I think it's something from the heart, if it's anything.
Oh, something from the heart.
Yeah, because that could be something cheap. Or something really expensive, you know? Candy, I'd be worried that I would eat it before my wife. Oh, Wallace, great move, and the lefty gets the teardrop.
And you're talking about heart. Yeah. Wallace plays all out, passionate about the game. He plays with a ton of heart.
Savage way short on that one. Rodriguez the rebound. UTSA a chance to tie or take the lead. Wallace has a game-high 11 points. Zumbel threw that away. Jordan Rawls read that, and then Zumbel almost committed a reach-in foul. Justice in transition steps into it.
Wow, could have been a foul.
And I think what we're going to have here is a flopping warning on Cameron Justice for falling down. So the next time it'll be a technical foul. The officials did not buy that he was contacted enough to go down. And they were right. That's a great call. He wasn't touched.
That's what the rule is for. Situations like that. Nice job. And that's the type of three that Coach Rick Stansbury doesn't want from his team. Big guy running out at you, shot fake and drive.
That was an ill-advised pass and another throwaway for UTSA. 5th turnover of the game. Hollingsworth may have gotten away with a push-off, ducks underneath, and again gets the bounce.
Nice move by Hollingsworth, but again on these backdoor passes, Western Kentucky, they've adopted our scouting report. They're trying to deny Wallace the ball. So Wallace is probably going to have to just come and receive the dribble handoff and not try to go backdoor because he's putting his big guys in a tough predicament, trying to make that pass.
Here's Wallace, way off the mark. And that'll take us to the under 4 timeout. 29-25, Western Kentucky has pretty much led the whole way, but it has been tight thanks to Keaton Wallace's 11 points. 5 of 9 from the floor, using that head fake nicely. And he's done a good job getting to the hoop, Avery.
Yeah, it's just been a valiant effort. He understands his role for the team. He's got to be the Robin, as we talked about in the open. But this guy here, Jackson, is the Batman. For UTSA to be successful, he's probably got to get 30-plus points tonight, which then he would break the record.
That record, well, being actually 2 records, it would break the single-season scoring record and the all-time scoring record for UTSA if he gets to 30 or even if he gets to 26. He only has 7, he being Javon Jackson. Wallace with 11. And that's who he would pass if he is able to break that all-time record. Devin Brown from 1998 to 2002. Well, listen, we got basketball fans watching. They're saying, hey, what are you guys talking about? That'd be great if I got basketball tickets for Valentine's Day.
Oh, man. Basketball tickets. Who would have thought?
You never got your wife basketball tickets?
No.
I haven't either, I'll say that.
That's how I've stayed married so long.
Exactly, that's a good point. So you're not advising the basketball tickets for next year?
I'm not advising the basketball tickets as much as I love basketball. I've been involved with basketball. I'm turning 55 March 25th, so I've been involved with basketball for 45 years on some level. AAU, high school, college, pro.
Well, there's the updated numbers. As Javon Jackson chases a couple of records this afternoon. 7 points so far. He hasn't really looked for his shot too much early. 3 for 6 from the floor. After making his first 3, he's missed his last 3. Williams inside. That one-on-one, picks up the dribble, high post. Shot clock under 5. Savage again. He is that man when you need a shot, when it's all breaking down. Jared Savage to the rescue.
And a lot of times when you're playing against a shooter, or what I call a maker, because sometimes shooters don't always make shots, but this guy's a maker. You have to close out basically like you're underneath his jersey. Any space, then it's over.
Rawls dribbled to the middle of the floor and gets fouled by Makani Whiteside. That'll be number 3 on Whiteside, who just checked back into the game after sitting with foul trouble.
And that's what coaching staffs are often disappointed about. You've seen him make 2 threes already. He's already proven to you that he can make a 3. He's probably got a star by his name, Savage. Next to it, 3 stars by his name in the scouting report. So in that situation, you got to play better defense.
Let's bring in Ashley Holder.
Yeah, Coach Stansbury switching up his game plan a little bit in that last huddle. He told his guys, let's get to the foul line these last 3 minutes. He was pointing out the guys off of UTSA to actually target, so you can see that worked out pretty well for them.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Good stuff. As Western Kentucky has all of a sudden opened up its largest lead of the game at 9. Josh Anderson almost stole it. They will get it. Anderson, one of the best dunkers in college basketball.
He should be in Chicago tonight for the slam dunk contest, the way he threw that one down.
Yeah, they chartered a jet down here, so they're going to hop on that plane to go back to Western Kentucky later tonight. Maybe stop in Chicago and drop this guy off.
My goodness. That's impressive. His head looked like it was almost...
Oh, yeah, he could lick the rim if he wanted to.
Like Gerald Wallace can go out and had one dunk contest where he went up and dunked and blew out a candle.
That was great.
I think Vince Carter is my favorite guy, all-time dunk contest winner. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think you can beat Vince Carter. You're right. I mean, he's the Vinsanity and still going. It's incredible the way his game has changed throughout the years. Now a great three-point shooter and veteran. Played in 4 different decades. Incredible. 9-0 run for Western Kentucky. They lead by 11 here, Avery. If you're the head coach of UTSA, Steve Henson, what are you talking to your team about right now with 2 minutes to go until halftime?
Well, you got to get quality shots, and the 2 guys, Jackson and Wallace, you got to get the ball in their hands. I would say with some of the other guys that are in pick and roll situations, instead of them popping, trying to make a 3, maybe roll, try to get an easy basket. But now, again, Coach Stansbury switched up his defense. Here's the 2-3 matchup zone. Talk to us about that before the game, just to try to throw UTSA off a little bit, and it didn't work that time.
Eric Zumbel snaps that 9-0 run. Rick Stansbury was telling us before the game he's played more defenses this season than he ever has had to as a head coach. Hollingsworth over the big man, Bior.
And also talked about they just don't have much margin for error because their bench is so thin.
Williams comes up with the steal. They only have 6 players that contribute. They have Cozart and Jeremiah Gambrell who come in for 5-6 minutes a game, but they don't really contribute to the scoring. It's just these guys, that's it.
And those are situations where Coach Henson talked about trying to stay away from what they call double errors. Javon Jackson turns the ball over, then he commits a foul on the other end. So not only do you turn it over, but now you send in Western Kentucky, who's a really good free throw shooting team, to the line.
And the fact that they are 1 game out of first without the services of Charles Bassey, who had a season-ending injury in early December, is incredible. Bassey making his first road trip since that injury, the fractured leg. Got off crutches on February the 5th, and it's a bit of a homecoming. Played some high school basketball here in San Antonio at St. Anthony. Wallace has been pretty successful when he puts the ball on the floor and gets to the hoop.
And especially when he's going left. He's strong, left-handed player. Western Kentucky didn't do a good job of shutting off his driving lanes.
Entry pass to Savage. He gets tied up by Wallace, and Wallace gets called for the foul.
And speaking of Bassey, you're talking about a guy that's the 2019 Conference USA Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year.
Now, he was the preseason Player of the Year this year. They were expecting him to dominate inside. And just too bad. Got injured in that Arkansas game, a game that Western Kentucky won.
Yeah.
And the good news, Avery, is he's out there shooting again. Not jumping, some flat-footed shooting, but a great sign yesterday at practice.
Yeah, that can go a long way in terms of his rehab, just taking baby steps. You know, it's a kid that averaged 14 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, and shot 60% from the field. When you have a 6'11" player in your rotation that can put up those numbers, it makes your offense more efficient.
Speaking of offense, Keaton Wallace has 16 points. We were calling him Robin earlier. He's been Batman in this game.
Maybe he's got insulted. Or he's just in a bounce-back mode after you shoot 0 for 10 from 3 in his previous game.
Yeah, I had a feeling he'd come out like a house of fire after that 3 for 19 performance against Marshall. Here he comes with an interception. He got 2 feet in, but it's not football. It's out of bounds. It'll stay with Western Kentucky. 5 on the shot clock.
He's competing on both ends of the floor. That's when you're giving your body up for the team. That's a great example of competitive spirit. Not just what you're doing on the offensive end, but how you make sacrifices for your team on the defensive end.
See that last game there, 13 points, but 3 of 19 from the floor, 0 for 10 from deep. And they still won the game, which all you have to do is look at the box score to see why. They out-rebounded Marshall by 22. They had 27 offensive rebounds. And Marshall started the second half of that game 1 for 21. It's hard to do.
Yep. So was that UTSA's defense or Marshall's offense?
Well, Steve Henson did say that was the best defensive performance we've had in a long time. It's 5 seconds on the shot clock after that. Ball went out of bounds as Keaton Wallace picked it off but had his feet out.
These are situations you practice over and over again, trying to get an easy basket.
Hollingsworth walked.
When you're up against the clock and it's 5 seconds on the shot clock in that situation, those plays don't work unless you screen somebody. So in that situation, Williams blew his assignment trying to screen for Hollingsworth, so you can't get him open or you can't get open if you don't set a screen. And then the byproduct of that is Hollingsworth has to wait so that the big guy can't set the screen.
And then have to force it and go baseline and run out of time.
It's got to be a collaborative effort in those situations.
9.9 seconds to go here in the first half. Hollingsworth got his hand on it. They're pressuring, trying to make him use up some time.
I'm surprised Jackson isn't in the backcourt trying to help him get the ball in bounds.
Yeah, he's whistled before the inbounds, and that's going to be a foul on Western Kentucky. They're going to get Jordan Rawls for that, but they're not over the limit. That's just the 6th team foul. They had one to give, 8.5 left. Fronin gets it back. Here he comes, full head of steam. Zumbel in the corner. Rodriguez offensive board, and at the buzzer, UTSA gets some momentum going into the halftime break. A 7-point deficit.
Sometimes your best shot can be a missed shot. And when you shoot corner threes, they can lead the fast break on one hand or easy offensive rebounds for the offense.
They clearly got it off in time. Western Kentucky leads by 7. Ashley Holder with Rick Stansberry.
Coach, this last few minutes, your team has been able to gain some separation. What do you like so far in this first half?
Haven't turned it over much, number one. Done by as good as jobs you do on Jackson. Wallace has hurt us. But again, we got to limit those second chance baskets right there. There's one of them right at the closing. But for the most part, it's 20 minutes and our guys are fighting.
You told me before that you needed to stop the playmakers as well as a defensive presence. You've caused 7 turnovers. What do you feel your defense has been like this first 20 minutes?
Well, I think we've kept them off pace a little bit. You know, I think we've kept the flow of the game slow, which we want to do here, and not let those shooters get in rhythm and try to not get beat on the back of that press.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, they've only given up 4 second chance opportunities, but half of them came in the final seconds of the first half as UTSA closes the half on a 7-2 run. It's a 7-point game at the break. We're back in mere seconds from San Antonio.
The excitement of Division I college basketball in the month of March is returning to Ford Center and the Star in Frisco, Texas. Get your tickets now for the 2020 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center. 22 basketball games over 4 days in one location, March 11th through March 14th. For tickets, visit your Conference USA team box office or go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star.
In 1969, a group of visionaries dreamt of a brighter future for San Antonio. Seeking the creation of life-changing opportunities, UTSA, the city's first public university, was born. Today, 50 years later, UTSA is changing lives, making new discoveries, and taking on the grand challenges of our time through inspiring education and transformational research. UTSA, celebrating 50 years of excellence for San Antonio and the world.
That young fan rooting on UTSA this afternoon. The Roadrunners at home, trailing by 7 at the halftime break to second place Western Kentucky. We have another fan comment from Facebook. Greg Bell says, "Go Top from the home of the best country ham in Kentucky, Finchville." I'll have to try the old country ham. Sounds good. I'm Chris Hassel. Thanks for joining us here on Facebook Watch at the half. We are in San Antonio, where the NCAA tournament is going to return in a couple of years for the South Regional and then in 5 years for the Final Four. This has been home to a ton of great NCAA tournament moments. We take a look back at many throughout the last couple decades.
What a tournament we've had, and it all concludes here tonight at the Alamo Dome with Kentucky controlling the tip. Got the tie. Shepard off and running. Miller better not foul him. The comeback Cats cannot be denied.
Boddicker able to knock that one down. It looks like the burnt orange flames in late September in Texas. The Longhorns to the Final Four. Still ought to be thinking, too. There's plenty of time here to drive. Well, here you go for the tie. It's again. It's John Lucas with a clutch three. With 5 seconds, it's Bynum. Fakes outside, drives in. 3 seconds. Bynum. Yes, the one. It's time. Lucas launches. with a three. Yes, this time. Brown on the drive. Give up Okafor. Shot for the lead. And rattles out. Tipped around by Boone. Back to Okafor. UConn leads. What a comeback. UConn is going to the championship game. Now with 10 on the shot clock. Okafor makes his move and gets the hoop. Then Brown. And good night of Mecca. The game is over. UConn's the national champion for 2004.
Nice cut and pass. Bradshaw again, huh? Lewis gets a high screen to switch with Chisholm. Takes the shot. And another three for Ron Lewis. Rumar Smith drives, puts it up. Oh, rejected it. Wow. Unbelievable.
They must make one here to extend the game. Collins driving, almost lost the handle. Chalmers for the tie. Got it for 2 seconds. Unbelievable.
The old Michael Jordan, Larry Bird commercial.
Ties their biggest lead of the night. A Kansas comeback for the history books. Rock Chalk Championship. Kansas takes the title.
Rodriguez, they swing it. Now that is a three-pointer. Singleton, ball! Facing the count, gets it in, and Burgess with the score. Hill with a nice shot. Wow! Yes.
An 11-5 stretch. DiVincenzo breaks their heart. Bridges has 3 more.
Nothing you can do.
The Nova Nation has another national championship.
Those are some of the best moments in NCAA tournament history here in San Antonio, the host of 4 Final Fours. And again, they're going to be hosting the Final Four in 5 years, in the South Regional in a couple of years. We saw that Villanova team come through San Antonio and just dominate the Final Four 2 years ago. Avery Johnson, very familiar with that Nova team.
Yeah, very familiar with that team. 2 years ago when we upset Virginia Tech in the first round. Unfortunately for us, Villanova was our second round opponent. And, they just had a team that was outstanding, offensive team. Brunson was arguably playing like one of the best point guards in the country. DiVincenzo, who's now playing for Milwaukee Bucks. Brunson is playing for the Dallas Mavericks. Jay Wright just does an incredible job coaching. And we tried. We had Colin Sexton, and he's turned out to be a really good pro for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's even good 3-on-5.
Yes,
as you witnessed in New York. We've got a poll for you. What is your favorite NCAA tournament moment in San Antonio? Is it 2003 when Texas reached the Final Four? 2008, that Mario Chalmers game-tying shot to send it to overtime against Memphis in the championship game, and Kansas eventually winning that game in the championship, or Villanova's dominance in 2018? How about you, Avery?
I'm going with Mario Chalmers' shot in 2008. And that also sparked the debate on, whether you foul a guy when you're up 3, whether you foul at half court or allow him to take the shot. So it's just, I think that sparked a lot of debate. I like the foul. I don't want to see a guy attempt the 3.
Yeah, I think if that happened in 2018 when the Final Four was here, might have been a little bit different story, and Memphis might have fouled Kansas before that three-pointer went off. We are at halftime here as Western Kentucky leads UTSA by 7 points in the last game before bonus play, Avery, and we are learning a lot more about where everybody is going to be slotted. Western Kentucky is in Group 1 because of the way they finished. North Texas just beat Old Dominion, so North Texas is going to have the 1 seed in Group 1. Western Kentucky is going to have the 2 seed. What that means is Western Kentucky will have to go to North Texas at some point during bonus play. Bonus play consists of 4 games to close out the regular season, and that is how things are going to be slotted. North Texas, Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, FIU, and Charlotte will be in Group 1. Western Kentucky, the 2 seed, North Texas, the 1 seed. And in Group 2, UTSA is going to be in Group 2, which is teams 6 through 10 in the standings. And it's still up in the air because of how close everything is, where they're going to be slotted. And all the seeding means in bonus play is where you travel to, because the teams higher up in the group get to host the more difficult teams and go on the road to the quote-unquote easier games. This is the second year of bonus play in Conference USA. Really applaud Conference USA for trying something different, because they were in a point where Middle Tennessee lost in the tournament a couple of years ago. They were a team that should have been in the tournament. They didn't get an at-large bid because their RPI at the time wasn't high enough.
And I agree with you. Give Conference USA credit for trying something new, thinking outside the box. It's an attempt to try to get more than one team in the tournament, because they want to be, Conference USA wants to be a multiple bid league. But again, from a coaching standpoint, you only have 4 or 5 days to prepare. It could be a logistical nightmare.
Case in point, nobody knows where they're playing next Saturday. Nobody.
Nobody knows. And when you're Western Kentucky, it's not like you're in a big metropolitan city and you have access to 2 different airports. You know, you're probably going to have to charter. That's a huge expense. But again, it's just one of those things where I applaud them for trying to do something different. And it's gotten a lot of attention. And it's just going to be a matter of whether other teams, other leagues are going to try this in the future.
And we'll see what happens next season. It was a 2-year commitment to bonus play, so we'll see if this potentially is just a 2-year experiment and they move on to something else. We'll all be moving on to Frisco, Texas for the Conference USA tournament beginning Friday, March the 13th. CBS Sports Network has the coverage for the men's semifinals at 2 Eastern. Then on Saturday, CBS Sports Network is your home for the men's and women's championship. Ladies first at 5:30 Eastern, followed by the men at 8:30 Eastern time. Western Kentucky has lost in the championship game each of the last 2 seasons. Going to be back with the second half of UTSA and Western Kentucky in just a moment. Hilltoppers leading by 7.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have set new standards of success. Our history includes those who are beyond competitors on the field, beyond champions in the classroom, and beyond heroes in their communities. We call them Hall of Famers. The Conference USA Hall of Fame class of 2019. Their legacies live on. To find out more about the inaugural class, visit conferenceusa.com.
The flat path is easy, but for the inspired, there is a spirit that kindles a desire to climb higher, to soar, to roll, to reach new heights. The wish to be a part of something more, to do more and to be more. Hilltoppers know that life at the top is worth the climb. Climb with us at Western Kentucky University.
And Western Kentucky leading on the road 41-34 over UTSA, trying to win for the 9th time in 11 games and stay a game behind North Texas with 4 games to play in the regular season. Ashley Holder spoke with Steve Henson, the head coach of the UTSA Roadrunners.
Coach, 7 turnovers in the first 20 minutes. How do you take care better of the ball in this last 20 minutes?
Yeah, that was really a big part of it. The turnovers, then that led to transition. And the transition led to us fouling too much, so kind of all went together. We took too many hard shots, and the turnovers were not necessary for the most part, so got to value the ball a little bit more. Hopefully give us a chance to keep them out of transition. On the half court, we were okay with the exception of fouling too much.
Javon Jackson with only 7 points in this first half. How do you get him going?
He's got to trust. He's got to give it up and get it back and get a little more movement. The ball's got to get moving more. It's kind of holding up. The ball's just sticking a little bit, so too many hard shots. We need some transition opportunities, too, because he's so good in the open court, but he'll play better in the second half.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
With Avery Johnson, I'm Chris Hassel. That was Ashley Holder, the third member of our crew. Western Kentucky up by 7 at the half. They were 11 of 15 at the free throw line in the first half. UTSA didn't get there at all, and this is how Western Kentucky wins. They have they have made over 100 more free throws than their opponents have attempted this season.
Yeah, that's been the formula for them to win. But I think the key is also making three-point shots. And when you got a kid like Savage that's 21 for 42 from the three-point line in his last 7 games coming into tonight, you want him to take as many threes as he feels comfortable with. Normally the cutoff for a coach is if a kid shoots 35% from the three-point line, he has the freedom to take a three. But when you shoot 50% from the three-point line, there's no asking for permission. Just take as many as you want. But Savage has done a nice job of mixing up his game, but give his teammates credit. When he's open, they've found him on time and on target, and he's converted his three-point shots.
You mentioned shooting 50% his last 7 games from 3. He's 75% from 3. This afternoon, 3 for 4. Keaton Wallace keeping UTSA in it. He leads all scorers with 16. 7 of 11 from the floor.
We have to change his name. We talked about him being the Robin to Batman, talked about in the first half, but he's been Batman tonight. He's such a terrific offensive player. You know, he struggled early in the season, but he's just committed to being good. And you got to respect a young man when his commitment level to not only his individual success but the team success.
Doing some quick math, Western Kentucky has now made 126 more free throws than their opponents have attempted. 11 more makes, and UTSA hasn't even made it to the free throw line. And Western Kentucky has the ball to start this second half. Hollingsworth lost it. Cam Justice getting on the deck, but then losing it. Here comes Javon Jackson, who had 5 quick points, but just 7 total. Jacob Germany, the offensive board.
And sometimes it's almost like you've heard the term kiss of death. Coach Stansbury talked about what a great thing they did in the first half is took care of the basketball, and they start the first possession with a turnover.
Yeah, they only had 2 turnovers the entire first half. Jordan Rawls running it in.
And I love teams that can defend without fouling. And that's one of the things that Western Kentucky did a nice job of in the first half. They defended, moved their feet. They didn't commit too many silly fouls, especially when you're on the road.
I mean, you'd think you're shooting 50%, UTSA. You'd think you'd be leading this game. They won on Thursday shooting 30%. And now losing by 7, shooting now over 50%. Keaton Wallace with 18 points. Javon Jackson with a chance to become the all-time leading scorer in UTSA history tonight. He is now only 18 points behind Devin Brown, who's held that since 2002.
You think he's going to break the record tonight?
I'm gonna say no now. I thought he would when we began this game, but tonight it's Keaton Wallace with the hot hand. Jackson, 7 points. Sure, he can certainly do it. I don't think he's going to.
Well, today, it just seems like Jackson isn't as assertive in terms of moving without the ball. But you got to give Western Kentucky's defense, you know, team scout. They understand he's a prolific scorer. When you're the second leading scorer in the nation, it's probably bad news when you attempt and make shots. So give Coach Stansbury and his team credit for trying to limit his touches.
Stansbury saying, hey, my guy was pushed, but they get a travel on Western Kentucky. So already 2 turnovers in the second half to match their total turnovers from the first half. Fronin out to Zumbel, and now Jacob Germany as they toss it around. There's Jackson, used the head fake. His hands in his face, and he knocks it.
Man, when you can make contested shots like that, you can actually have a career in basketball after you leave college. You can have a pro career on some level when you make those type of shots. Nice job of shot faking here. Tough shot.
And snaps a cold spell for Jackson. He had missed his last 4 shots after a 3-for-3 start. Now 9 points for the second leading scorer in the country, who averages 27, just under 27. Marcus Howard from Marquette, the only other player who averages more a game. And Jackson missed it, but the tip from Germany. That's 4 second chance points in the second half for Jacob Germany.
And the arch that Jackson puts on this shot, I know we're in San Antonio, so I can maybe Iceman Gervin, the way he used to shoot his floaters.
There you go, yeah.
High release.
When in Rome. Wallace went for the reach, so Hollingsworth wide open, bricked it. Jackson the rebound. Deep 3. And Jared Savage able to pull down that board.
Jackson has a little Steph Curry in him also. Just with unlimited range.
Yep. No fear. Justice missed that.
Steph played at a small Division I school, Davison.
A good comparison.
Yeah, and I just like
maybe
that.
He'll like that one. He didn't like the comparison to Allen Iverson.
No, he didn't like that.
maybe to Steph. Zumbel missing that 3. Savage controlling the rebound. He's one of the best defensive rebounders in Conference USA. Hollingsworth keeps thinking about shooting it.
He didn't hesitate on that shot, the first play of the game. So
yeah, came out very aggressive at the start of this game, but 11 points as Williams from the elbow missing. Savage, hey, I talked about his defensive rebounding prowess. He says, I can do it on offense too.
We so focused on his three-point shooting, he's doing a nice job of mixing up his game, impacting the game in different ways.
And he has a double-double, 15 points now, 11 rebounds. Cronin putting that shoulder into Savage. Five on the shot clock. Wallace steps through. Zumbel way short. Cronin right there. Right place, right time.
Big point emphasis coming in this game, rebounding. We said it is one of our keys to the game. Western Kentucky has to rebound on the road.
Well, Western Kentucky only gave up 2 second chance points the whole first half until the final seconds. They gave up a bucket at the buzzer. So in the last 5 minutes of game time, they've given up 8 second chance points, trying to get some themselves. Williams, the offensive board. Cross-court Hollingsworth wide open, used the head fake on Germany, and that's a charge. Hollingsworth and Rick Stansberry not happy with that.
Whenever your teammates with an offensive rebound create a wide open three-point shot, Hollingsworth, he's got to take that shot.
I think he was expecting Germany to close out fast and then have him go blowing by.
Yeah, and sometimes even if you miss your last three-point shot, it's better to take that one. It's better than a turnover.
Jackson was able to come over and help, and clearly, he did lean a little bit to the right, a little bit of a leaning Tower of Pisa, but they get the call. Ashley?
Hey guys, yeah, Tavion Hollingsworth is a huge piece to the Western Kentucky program, but more than basketball, it's his 2-year-old daughter, Aubrey, that keeps him motivated each and every day. Now, Tavion became a father at the young age of 17. He had to figure out how to be a dad as well as go to school and play basketball, and it was tough on him. He told me his freshman year, he became depressed and had to go to see a counselor, but now he's adjusted and he sees her as much as possible with a busy schedule. At just 20 years old, this girl dad had to grow up pretty quick.
Having her would make me grow up so early in my age, but I feel like I'm already 25, 30. But it means the world, you know. She makes me want to go harder. And, you know, obviously want to make it big so I can take care of her.
That's great. Now a toddler. Aubrey, the daughter of Tavion Hollingsworth, who has 11 points and a couple rebounds tonight. We'll see if they can get to the finish line here. Rick Stansbury was telling us before the game, it's so difficult on these Saturday games on the road. Yeah, you got the energy on Thursday, but what they do in Conference USA is they play Thursday, Saturday, and you play either on the road or at home. Steve Karasik says, happy birthday, Dan Reagan. How about that? The shout from the boss. Dan back in the truck.
Has the boss ever shouted you out for your birthday?
To be fair, I don't know that I've done a game on my birthday. Just to be
When
fair.
is your birthday?
December 16th.
Okay.
You missed it. 3-point game.
It's amazing. Coach Stansbury talked about preparing for this game by not really practicing on yesterday, just walking through, no contact.
Well, Williams got the block on Germany as he had to hoist with the shot clock winding down. Just great defense from Western Kentucky this whole possession.
Yeah, but Savage made the play because he was in really good position. Your best man-to-man defense and your best man-to-man defensive teams, they make their man-to-man look like a zone. That's a big key.
How do you do that?
Well, when you're not involved in the play and you're not guarding your man, you got to be what we call up the line, in the driving lanes with the guy that's the ball handler, and making him see more than one defender, not just the guy that's guarding him. When somebody that has the ball is not only focused on the guy that's defender that's in front of him, but the defender that's in the help position, that makes it tough.
Jacob Germany gets to the free throw line, and these will be the first free throw attempts of the night. I said night, of the afternoon for the Roadrunners. So used to these night games in college basketball. It's nice having these day games, especially here at UTSA. Talking to some people, they used to always play at night, and I'm like, why are we doing that? We're competing against, on many nights, the Spurs, who are just a few miles away. Let's play a little bit earlier on Saturday, give these fans a chance to, even when the Spurs aren't in town, see a ball game and still have the evening to spend.
Well, two things with the Spurs now is All-Star weekend.
Yep.
And when they get back, it's the rodeo trip, where they normally play on the road for, 8 straight or 10 straight games.
Yeah, the rodeo's already in town. Hotels booked up all over. Jackson lost the handle on that fast break. But UTSA a chance to take the lead. Germany, deep two. Yes!
And you and I talked about it before the game. We thought this would be a close game.
Western Kentucky really only plays close games. They often find themselves in this position, trailing in the second half.
And UTSA, they've had a lot of recent success against Western Kentucky.
Well, the 2 games last season went into overtime, and UTSA lost both of them on the road. But a little defense to offense here, Avery.
And that's what we were talking about. When Jackson wasn't involved in the play, he was in the help position. He did a great job of limiting the production of the ball handler driving and helping and getting a steal. I love when we talk about something and then the players basically on script basically produce the type.
Good, huh?
Yes, makes us look good.
Tavion Hollingsworth going to take a seat along with Carson Williams to get a little bit of a breather ahead of this under 12 media timeout. Western Kentucky finds itself trailing. And Germany, the rebound. He's had a good night, 10.7 rebounds. Good afternoon, good day. Fronin. And here comes Justice. All the way to the hoop. He's thrown in the rebound.
It's all about converting those easy shots, especially in the paint. We've had 3 consecutive possessions where either has been a turnover or a missed shot at the basket.
Atem Bior had 9 points and 10 rebounds against Marshall, but hasn't had a good afternoon. Rawls, tough angle. And here comes Jackson. Still not in the double digits, second leading scorer in the country, averaging 27 a game.
And give the referees credit. They're not bailing out anybody when they're driving towards the basket. You got to finish those shots.
Western Kentucky finally controls the rebound. Anderson crossover. Cozart can't corral it. Here comes Jackson, pulls up from deep. And a foul on UTSA with 11:38 to go. Western Kentucky has missed 11 of its last 12 shots, and UTSA on a 6-0 run with the 1-point lead. We asked you a little bit earlier, what's your favorite tournament moment in San Antonio? And the majority of you saying it's that 2008 Villanova title. Avery and I, we both thought the Chalmers shot would get it, but maybe some Villanova fans watching. Unbeknownst to me, I brought the jacket from the San Antonio Final Four, CBS issued. Still didn't vote for it, but it won. Avery, take us through San Antonio. I was able to see the Alamo yesterday, first-time visitor, and went on the Riverwalk, walked about 6 miles. Just a beautiful city.
San Antonio is a beautiful city. People don't realize it's the fourth largest city, and there's 4 million people that live here in San Antonio. The Alamo Dome, we used to get 40,000 fans in the Alamo Dome, and especially in '99 when we won the championship. 250,000 fans showed up after we won the championship, you know, on the Riverwalk. It was just an amazing parade. All of our family and friends were there. Bliss, this is one of Coach Popovich's favorite restaurants here in San Antonio.
That looks exclusive.
That is exclusive. Big on the Bank's one of my favorite restaurants. There's a toffee pudding or some dessert that I like to order. Don't tell my wife. Hotel Emma, this is in the Pearl Brewery. This is one of the 5-star hotels in San Antonio. I'm not staying there, by the way, and everybody knows the Alamo.
Alamo, free admittance. Avery Johnson, 1999 NBA champion with the San Antonio Spurs, hit that championship clinching shot at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. So many people today have come up to Avery and said, thank you so much for what you did for, and they don't say Spurs, they say for this city of San Antonio.
The Spurs fans are very loyal. We lost in 1995, had the best record in the NBA, 60-22. We lost in the Western Conference Finals. It was devastating, and we said, let's run it back, and we ran it back in '99 after we drafted Tim Duncan and brought them their first of 5 championships. Just an unbelievable city, and they love basketball, period.
Jared Savage missing again for Western Kentucky. They've gone ice cold. They haven't scored in the last 4.5 minutes.
That picture of me scared me because I don't have a body like that anymore.
Well, Western Kentucky has come out this second half playing a lot like Marshall did to start the second half on Thursday here at the Convocation Center at UTSA. Marshall missed 21 of its first 22 shots. Western Kentucky 1 for their last, well, check it, Jordan Rawls. They were 1 for their last 14 until Jordan Rawls knocked that down, and Western is back in front. Bring in the third member of our crew, Ashley Holder, with more on Javon Jackson.
Yeah, the shooting struggles continue for Javon Jackson. You could tell in that last huddle he was frustrated as he's 4 for 12 from the field and 1 for 3 from the 3. Now he was quiet in the huddle. Teammates and coaches were trying to encourage him, told him to keep shooting and just focus. You can tell that it's actually really starting to get to him. Chris?
Yeah, 4 for 12 tonight, this afternoon. A couple of turnovers. Keaton Wallace leading the way. 20 points now, 9 of 14 from the floor. And we're tied up at 50. I mentioned last year they played twice. Both games went to overtime. Could be heading that way again, coming up on 10 minutes to go.
Yes, with 10 minutes to go, both teams are just battling right now and struggling to score overall. You can't come up empty on consecutive possessions in games like this because it's a game of cycles.
Isaiah Cozart called for that foul. Again, he's out there trying to buy some minutes for Carson Williams, but that's that. Carson Williams and Tavion Hollingsworth coming back in.
And right now, Williams is the tallest player on the court for Western Kentucky. He's 6'5".
Yeah, the tallest player that plays is Isaiah Cozart at 6'7", but he doesn't play much.
Right.
A screen and an open three. Luka Barisic still off tonight. He's 0 for 4, all 4 shots coming from deep. If you're just joining us, North Texas beat Old Dominion to secure the top spot in Group 1 as we head into bonus play a week from today. Western Kentucky will be the 2 seed, trying to stay a game out of first. Oh, great move by Hollingsworth.
Got hit in the head. Fabulous drive and finish.
Let's take a look here. Yeah, kind of got bumped from behind after he came down, it looked like.
And I like to see when guys drive and use the rim and reverse, finish their reverse layups.
They beat the pressure, 20 on the shot clock. They still haven't really been able to get into a set, but Jacob Germany had it poked away by Savage in a late foul call.
They're really making Jackson work for the ball. Once he gives the ball up, ball goes in the post. He very easily could run and score here in the corner, but could have been a turnover.
The UTSA down 2. They were down as many as 12. And now up 1 is Jackson. Maybe that'll get him going. Has a dozen points.
I don't know how he can ever lose his confidence because he's just a magnificent scorer.
And they'll give Anderson the jump shot. They just don't want him driving. That's an offensive foul. Adrian Rodriguez doesn't put a lot of stats on the sheet, but that'll show up big in the film study. Rick Stansbury says, what are you talking about? That was a blocking foul.
And it's a point of whether he's in good legal guarding position here.
What do you think?
Could have gone the other way.
You think it should have gone the other way?
Yes.
Oh, Anderson picks the pocket of Zumbel. Justice out to Hollingsworth, who will take it out high.
In those situations, the defender has to be the driver to the spot. You can't be moving.
We know Rick Stansbury agrees with it. 7 to shoot. Justice gets bumped. The 4th team foul on UTSA with 8:01 to play here in the ballgame.
Similar play, only Jackson basically reached in. He was still moving.
Fans making some noise here, looking for a stop. UTSA up 1. Shot clock to 5. Savage, he's the guy you want taking it. He gets fouled. He always seems to come through at the most desperate moment for Western Kentucky. And he's going to get 3 shots on the other side of this timeout. What do you think?
That's a foul. That's a foul.
Eric Zumbel had that hand up, put it right between the arms and to the chin.
Yeah, it looked like he got hit in the face, so that's a foul in that situation. That's an easy call. you got to allow three-point shooters to come down freely. You can't hit them on the arm, and you definitely can't tag them in the face.
Now Western Kentucky's going to have a chance to retake the lead on the other side of this timeout. We have a couple good short players in the building tonight. Avery Johnson being one of them. Javon Jackson being the other. Jackson listed at 6 feet. So we want to talk about some of the best 6 foot and under players in college basketball. These are the top guards outside of Javon Jackson. Marcus Howard, the only one that scores more than Jackson, but who's your favorite, Avery?
Yeah, Marcus Howard is a terrific player, but I love Fats Russell. I had a chance to coach against him when I was coaching at Alabama. This kid is just a microwave. He can fill it up. He's improved his scoring average every year. He's their go-to guy, and he's every bit of 5'9", 165 pounds. But I would say on this list, Fats Russell is my favorite guy.
How about your favorite 6 foot and unders of all time?
Wow, this is tough. I played against Muggsy Bogues. He's 5'3", strong as all. He is one of the strongest players I've ever played against. Spud Webb, one of the former NBA dunk champions. I love watching Trae Young. And then the best of them all is Calvin Murphy, the pride of Niagara University, and he's a tough guy, one of the best finishers in the basket, can score the ball all 3 levels, but that's my list. And I'll put that list up against anybody's.
We've got a poll for the Facebook audience. The best 6 foot or smaller player in college basketball is Marcus Howard, Anthony Cowan, Javon Jackson, playing right in front of us, or Avery's favorite, Fats Russell. But it's been the bigger guard doing it for UTSA this afternoon. Keaton Wallace, 6'3". He's got a game-high 20 points.
Love how this kid has just become a student of the game. Coach Henson talks about how he watches a ton of video, not just on himself, but the opponents, other guys that play his position at other schools. So a lot of his work starts in the film room, and they said he watched more film than anybody on their team, just as much as the coaching staff.
Jared Savage misses the first of 3 foul shots after being fouled while attempting a 3. 15 points, 13 rebounds. That ties the score at 53. He's an 82% free throw shooter this season as Western Kentucky continues to dominate at the line. UTSA has only attempted 2 free throws. Western Kentucky now over 20.
The fans here keep getting louder and louder, so everybody should just buckle up. But this game's going to go down to the last 2 minutes.
Seems like every time Western Kentucky is out there on the floor, they are involved in a nail-biter down the stretch. Jackson, another deep one. He's hit 2 straight threes and starting to feel it.
I love when coaches, and Coach Henson did a magnificent job. He knew exactly where he wanted the ball to go. That was a set play that he drew up. Nice job by Coach Henson and his staff.
Hollingsworth missing. Keaton Wallace runs it down. Didn't have numbers, so slows it up for the time being. And Hollingsworth the rebound.
It's getting to a point in the game where it's probably going to be Wallace or Jackson that take shots unless somebody's wide open. They're going to try to dominate and take over this game, especially as we approach the 6-minute mark.
Now you got to wonder, as a Western Kentucky fan, you know UTSA has the offense and the go-to players. Where's the offense going to come from? Tavion Hollingsworth taking it into his own hands the last couple of times down, and they get another stop, and we'll get it back in a tie game at 56. Look at how deep Jackson was.
Yep. They were ready for this 1-3-1 zone defense. Nice execution. It's good when a player baits a double team and then you find the open man.
And now just 4 points away from becoming the all-time single-season scoring leader, and they still have at least 5 more games to play after this one. 4 in the regular season, at least 1 in the tournament. Group play begins on Saturday. After this game, everybody's off until Saturday. Nobody knows where they're going. Cameron Justice misses that three, and a foul on Jacob Germany as he pulled down the rebound. Yeah, he kind of pulled Williams back, didn't he? That's a good call. Williams had the position. Savage got bumped on the way up, and a foul. He'll get back to the free throw line.
Savage has been really impressive in terms of playing inside and out. He hasn't been one-dimensional. Recognized that he had a mismatch there and took advantage of it.
Leads the team in rebounds and blocks. Top 10 in the conference in minutes per game, and he's one of the few that they're going to lose. Redshirt senior. This team's going to bring a lot back next season, especially if Charles Bassey returns. And UTSA the same way. They're not really losing many of their key players.
If UTSA doesn't win this game, a big point of contention with the coaching staff is going to be the disparity in free throw attempts.
And what Rick Stansbury can say is, look, this is what we've been doing all season long. This wasn't a one-night thing. I mean, they, coming into the game, they had made over 100 more free throws than their opponents have attempted. That's how they win. That and not turning the ball over and not getting into foul trouble, because when you only go 6 deep, you can't get into foul trouble. They haven't. Josh Anderson and Cameron Justice have 3 fouls tonight with 5:43 to go.
And give them credit. Give them credit for developing an identity. When you lose a kid like Bassey, you got to know exactly who you are.
Just 2 points away now from Derek Gervin and the single season scoring record here at UTSA. 1 more away from tying it, 2 from breaking it. 17 points on the afternoon for Jackson. Hollingsworth, little Euro step, too big of a Euro step. They got it for a travel.
Chris, in this situation, Hollingsworth, he's going to have to take the three-point shot. They're playing him for the drive. They're going way under. See, Wallace here is going way under the pick and roll. He has to stop and pop it. He can make that three-point shot or the mid-range shot. Those turnovers right there are not good turnovers.
Jackson got hit in the face, and Anderson called for the foul. That's his 4th. Rare foul trouble for a Western Kentucky player this season. 9th team foul, so 1-1 for Jackson. 84% this season. That's 9th best in Conference USA. What do you think, Avery?
Yep. Because he swung with his elbows over, that's a legal move.
And with that, Javon Jackson, now the all-time single-season scoring leader in UTSA history. It was a record that had stood since 1985. And he might put that thing out of reach. Hollingsworth, you said he's got to shoot it. He does. And way off the mark. He hesitated.
That's the difference in when he made his first three-pointer early in the game. There was no hesitation. There was confidence. It was rhythm.
He made his first 3, but has missed his last 2. He's 1 for 3 this afternoon. And about 28% on the season, but he doesn't take many.
I got to give this officiating crew credit. They've done a really good job. This is a tough game. And they've been, overall, been really consistent.
Williams swatted away, and Hollingsworth got it over the front of the rim, and we're tied up at 60. This is the 8th time we've been tied, and most of that has come here in the second half. 10 lead changes. Western Kentucky led by as many as 12.
And you know, Western Kentucky with this short rotation, these guys play a lot of minutes. I'm wondering about their stamina towards the end of the game. And Hollingsworth, he didn't look tired on that one.
Wallace short, you're right. This is the second game in 48 hours. They played Thursday night in UTEP. El Paso, the longest trip for Western Kentucky and just about everybody in Conference USA. Then having to come here. They got here about 1 in the morning on Friday morning. Just did a little walkthrough yesterday, didn't shoot around at all today. Do they have enough in the tank? Anderson missed that. Germany, the rebound. As he closes in on a double-double. 10 points, 9 rebounds for Jacob Germany.
Be interesting if they get a stop here, or even if UTSA scores, whether Coach Stansberry going to decide to take a timeout, just to give his team a break. They have 3 timeouts left, so that may be the smart play here.
Wallace! That's where he's had success tonight, taking it to the hoop. He's got 22, and UTSA has a 2-point lead.
Decides not to take the timeout, so isolation here for Williams.
Missed it. Germany with the double-double. 10 points, 10 boards.
And Chris, normally that's where fatigue shows up in situations like that. That's a layup that he probably could make, you know, 10 out of 10 times, but now it's 9 out of 10, hypothetically, and that's where it shows up.
Now Steve Henson is going to call a timeout. 12 on the shot clock, 2:30 to go, and what a bounce-back game for Keaton Wallace after going 3 for 19 from the floor on Thursday.
When you struggle from the floor and you go 0 for 10 from the three-point line, that can lead to a sleepless night, but Coach Henson said this guy gets more sleep on the team than anybody. He takes care of his body, he gets his rest. So he must have been dreaming when he was sleeping of having a breakout game.
Well, I like the fact that he's taking the ball to the hoop. He was 0 for 10 from three-point range on that Thursday night win against Marshall. From 2-point range tonight, he's 8 for 10, and most of them have come right at the hoop.
Yeah, and he hasn't turned the ball over. When you're playing 36 minutes and you're taking care of the ball, you're making really good decisions with the basketball, it just fuels your confidence. He's a left-handed player. He's strong going to his left, but he also shows that he can make the mid-range shot going to his right. Nice shot, fakes, hesitation. He just got the entire package working tonight.
22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. I know this is every game it seems like we call is at night. It just gets ingrained. But we are happy to have an afternoon matinee here from the Alamo. These Roadrunner fans have shown up. The band getting on Western Kentucky's nerves right behind us. They're fired up. And we've got a good game at the Convocation Center. UTSA leads by 2.
And I know you're an East Coast guy. We're on Central Time. Okay? This is not the Eastern Time zone.
Hey, I grew up in Iowa, so I know all about Central Time. But I'm now an East Coast elitist, so I've totally forgotten about the rest of the country. Now, Wallace and Jackson have combined to score the last 14 points for UTSA. Shot clock to 5. Jackson, deep 3, off the mark, rebound Savage. 14th rebound for Jared Savage. Western Kentucky hasn't scored in a couple minutes. Hollingsworth, oh, he needed that road bounce.
Yeah, and he needed that rest in the timeout. He started breathing pretty hard. So maybe that timeout from UTSA helped him.
Yeah, that was a Steve Henson timeout. Western Kentucky still has 3 timeouts to go. Jackson, pump fake, teardrop. Oh, use that square.
Well, he has a doctorate degree in shot fakes. Very impressive. Jacob Germany, if UTSA is successful, he will be a big story with this game with his double figures, 10 points.
And 10 rebounds. Double-double for Germany. 10 to shoot. Hollingsworth gets the screen from Williams. Off the mark, off of Anderson, UTSA ball. With 1:22 to go, Javon Jackson becomes UTSA's single season scoring champ, and they're still counting.
We showed earlier some sights around San Antonio, and we showed the Alamo Dome, and he looked like he's dropping those teardrops from the top of the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, he can bring the rain, can he? Got 21 points, and now 4 away from Devin Brown, 5 from becoming UTSA's all-time leading scorer. Devin Brown, 1,922 points. So we asked you, who's the best 6-foot or under player in college basketball? And looks like 37% say Javon Jackson. Avery voted for Fats Russell. And we got to vote for Anthony Cowan in the truck as well. I mean, it's pretty well split.
Yeah, my guy got a couple of votes, but this guy here, normally when you talk about a maestro, you're talking about players that can make passes and assists and distribute. This guy's a maestro at scoring. And he can play any instrument, Chris, in the band. Any instrument he wants. Tuba, drums, saxophone. He just makes good music.
My wife played the oboe, but I don't think that's in a marching band, is it? I don't see an oboe up there. 1:22 to play. UTSA is up by 2. Rick Stansbury and this Western Kentucky team so used to this situation. They've been able to pull most of these games out. How do they do it again this afternoon?
Well, they're going to have to limit Jackson and Wallace production, and they're going to have to force somebody else, not named Jackson or Wallace, to try to attempt the shot to score the basketball, because you know these two guys are just prolific. They only have 1:22 left.
And they're also in the double bonus. Cronin gets it into Germany. See if they can handle this press.
Western Kentucky's rebound the basketball is going to be critically important, not giving up any second shots here on defense. They're playing man-to-man.
They'll run the clock under a minute.
It'll be interesting if they run a pick and roll, whether they trap Jackson or not.
There's Jackson, way short. It wasn't touched. It's Western Kentucky ball.
He thought he got hit on the hand. Western Kentucky showed a trap, but then they backed out of it.
Steve Henson potentially arguing that that ball was tipped and saying, hey, why can't you look at this? We're under a minute here. Why don't you look just to make sure? Ball certainly wasn't tipped. The hand may have been hit, but obviously you can't overturn that. But the ball did not appear to be touched at all.
No, this is Western Kentucky's ball.
So this gives Rick Stansbury a chance to draw something up.
Yeah, it's basically like a free timeout.
Even though he has 3 left. I mean, he's got plenty left. They looked at it quickly and saw what we saw. That one was not tipped. So it's Western Kentucky ball with 54 seconds to play and a 2-point deficit.
And I can see Western Kentucky trying to run something to get Savage a shot here.
19 points, 3 for 5 from outside is Jared Savage. Hollingsworth, runner, good, we're tied. And a timeout, Rick Stansbury.
And that was smart by Coach Stansbury. He used Savage as a decoy, basically ran him backdoor from behind the 3-point line, and they went to Hollingsworth.
Well, Rick Stansbury says that he's got a team full of outside dogs, and it doesn't mean anything about outside shooting. He says some teams have inside dogs, like a little puppy that comes up, sits in your lap as you're watching CBS Sports Network. Then you got outside dogs. They can't be inside. That's the team he has this year. He believes that's why they've been able to gut out these games.
And these guys are tough. He used the word outside dogs a lot when we met with him before the game. But look at the keys to the game. You know, rebounds, 35 rebounds. They have 3 guys. Western Kentucky has 3 guys in double digits. I think they need 4. But who's helping the big 2 for UTSA? And that's our guy, Germany. Only 6 fast break points, but they've done a nice job overall competing in this game.
11-second difference, shot clock and game clock. Tie game between Western Kentucky and UTSA. Roadrunners beat Louisiana Tech on this floor earlier this season. They beat Marshall here earlier in the week. Been so good at the Convocation Center under Steve Henson. 6 to shoot. Jackson will take it. It was short, Avery. And now Western Kentucky has it with the shot clock off and a chance to win it. Rick Stansbury calls one of his last 2 timeouts to try to draw up a game winner.
Yes, that's why he was saving all those timeouts.
There you go. Let's take another look at Jackson's miss.
I was a little surprised Western Kentucky didn't double team Jackson, but really good defense by Rawls.
So now, last time down it was Tavion Hollingsworth. They used Jared Savage as a decoy, and Hollingsworth hit the floater to tie it up. Where are you going here?
I'm going back to Hollingsworth. Probably clear it out. I don't know if Coach Stansbury going to utilize a pick and roll again, but if it worked, probably he's going to go back to it. If Hollingsworth is trapped, then the 2 guys on the backside, they got to be ready to shoot. Show your hands, be in a ready position. Probably he'll have to throw some sort of a skip pass. Now, if Hollingsworth, if the players run for him, then UTSA got to do a really good job of boxing out, because a tip in at the buzzer usually would happen in a situation like this.
A lot of fans watching this have to be having some deja vu. Both games last season between these teams went to overtime. Western Kentucky won both of them, but that was at home. This one on the road in San Antonio. Western tries to remain a game behind North Texas for first place heading into bonus play.
Now, the most important thing first is get the ball in bounds. You got to get a clean look. Savage got to understand they have 1 timeout left.
They throw it way down the court to Hollingsworth, 94 feet away.
Slip the pick and roll here.
3 seconds. Hollingsworth, hesitation, baseline, no good. And it's deja vu all over again, perhaps. We're going to overtime for the 3rd straight time between these 2 teams. Hollingsworth wanted a foul. They did not call it.
Well, they got the ball in the Hollingsworth hand. That's what they wanted to do. Got to switch here. And he can make that shot.
Yeah, it was a right non-call in my opinion.
Could have been a push-off right there.
Yeah, if you're going to call anything.
Yeah.
Boy, Hollingsworth had the look. That would have been something. But instead, we've got free basketball.
I think that was a good no call.
I think so too.
Play on.
Bench is like, hey, what? Look at him. He's on the floor. He got hit. So we got at least 5 more minutes of basketball. What is it between these 2 teams that they just can't settle it in 40 minutes? 3rd straight overtime game between these 2 teams. The first one last year is the game where Javon Jackson scored 46 points in a losing effort. He has 21 so far this afternoon, and still an opportunity after setting the single season scoring record for UTSA. With 5 more points, he'll become UTSA's all-time leading scorer. We have 5 extra minutes to do it.
And I think if he's in that situation where he was with the last shot that he missed, I think you're going to see him try to take the ball to the basket. Because in that situation, you take the ball to the basket, potentially get fouled. You know, that was a tough pull-up. So let's see if he makes some sort of adjustment here in overtime, if he's in an isolated situation again.
All right. UTSA wins the tip. And they start overtime, running some handoffs. Wallace run into the hoop, way short on that teardrop, and Savage the board.
Wallace is not nearly as effective with that floater near the basket when he goes right. When he goes left now, he's very efficient.
Hollingsworth.
Western Kentucky's going to have to make a 3 in overtime.
Savage comes through again.
UTSA is really shrinking their defense in the paint, so those threes are available. Just didn't think it was going to be available from Savage, for Savage.
And it's his 4th three-pointer of the game. He's 4 for 6 from deep, 22 points, 15 rebounds. Jackson got it poked away, but got it back.
That's exactly what I was describing. He's going to have those drives available to him.
Anderson got bumped on the floor, I believe, so it should be a 1-and-1. We take a look back at the last offensive possession for Western Kentucky. And Jared Savage with the shot clock winding down.
UTSA prized himself in playing pack line defense, playing all 5 guys in the paint, but that time Savage made him pay. And here's Jackson going to the basket. Western Kentucky, they're as scared of his mid-range, Jackson's mid-range, and his three-point shot even more than his drive to the basket. And Coach Stansberry, I've had that look on my face before. He's still upset about that 9 call.
At the end of regulation when Hollingsworth missed a would-be game winner, but the free throw line continuing to be a charm for Western Kentucky. They are 19 for 24 at the line tonight. It's almost nighttime here in San Antonio. If we keep playing, it will be. UTSA's only been to the line 6 times. Jackson finds himself wide open. Missed it. But thrown in a one-handed rebound.
You talk about fatigue for Western Kentucky. What about a little fatigue for UTSA?
Another fadeaway, another miss, thrown in another offensive rebound. Jackson gets fouled. And Jackson will have an opportunity here at the line to tie the all-time scoring record for UTSA. If he makes both, he will tie Devin Brown. He hasn't hit the rim on a free throw this afternoon. 5 for 5 so far. Now has 24 for the game. And he's now tied with Devin Brown as the all-time leading scorers in UTSA history. And more importantly, UTSA is within 1 in this game.
Give both teams credit. They're laying it all out on the line. If you're a fan of either team, the effort is there.
No question.
They are battling.
Hollingsworth takes a 3. Short, got his own rebound. Takes it from the elbow. Missed that. And finally, Zumbel comes up with the board. Coming up on 2.5 to go. And a timeout called by Steve Henson. UTSA trailed by as many as 12 points in this game. But they have a chance here in overtime to come up with what would be the biggest win of the season. Javon Jackson and Devin Brown, for the time being, tied atop the all-time scoring list in Roadrunner basketball history. 1,922 points. Jackson is going to end up, if he stays healthy, with over 2,000 by the end of this season, and he still has another season of eligibility to go.
Wow, yes, another season to go. We'll see what he decides after this year. Love to see this kid come back next year and just separate himself from the pack even more.
Well, his current average of just under 27 points per game would break the all-time Conference USA record. And as you very well know, Avery, there have been some incredible players to come through Conference USA over the last generation. On that Western Kentucky side, if they win this game, they can point to Jared Savage. 22 points, 15 rebounds. He's 4 for 6 from deep.
Playing 42 minutes so far in this game, and he's just done a nice job of mixing his game up. You know, offensive rebounding, you know, 6 for 7 from the free throw line. This kid, if I'm Western Kentucky, I'm going to try to get him a shot sooner rather than later.
Well, he did make a big three to start the scoring in overtime. He's really stepped up his scoring the last few games. Averages about 11.5 per game this season, but had 14 his last time out. And as we've seen today, when he scores, they are at very important, stressful, sometimes even desperate moments for the team.
And he just plays the right way. He never really forces anything. He knows who he is as an offensive player. It's not rarely off balance.
Jackson stepped into it, missed it. Hollingsworth skies high for the rebound.
I know that was a
great look.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. I know that was a big point of emphasis in the timeout is rebounding the basketball. Getting stops and rebounding. You don't want to give UTSA any second shots.
Now Western Kentucky works it under 2 minutes. And a 1-point lead. Here's Rawls. Runner, no good. Tip from Williams.
Nice tap in.
And he has been quiet tonight. Just 6 points, but those two were huge.
Looking for Jackson coming off of a down screen. Nice job by Hollingsworth.
Off balance, no good, and Hollingsworth pulls it down. They'll take it under a minute, and they'll have a 3-point lead.
Very impressive rebound by Carson, box out by Carson Williams. Sometimes when you're boxing out like that, you may not get the rebound, but you can be the reason why your team was able to secure the board.
Let's go back to that tip in as Germany commits the unlucky foul. Williams averaging 14 points a game, but only had 4 before that tip in.
When you're in a switching situation like that, Jackson switched, then it's his responsibility to box out Williams. Didn't execute the box out correctly, and Western Kentucky and Williams made him pay the price.
It's a 1-and-1. Carson Williams, a good free throw shooter, but 0 for 3 this afternoon. It's that one to go.
You can feel the momentum all on Western Kentucky's side right now.
And this is just what they've done all season long. Close game after close game. Just when you think they've run into their match, they just have enough. 58 seconds to go in a 5-point game. UTSA has been relying on Jackson of late to create a shot. He hasn't been successful here in the overtime.
Western Kentucky's not only limiting Jackson's success on offense, but also forcing Savage right. They've just cut off his left hand. They've made him a right-handed dribble. They're not going to get beat with Savage going left and scoring the basketball. So nice adjustment from a defensive standpoint.
All right, if you're Steve Henson and you're down 5 under a minute to go, you got the ball. How do you get this first bucket down, get it back to a 1-possession game and have a chance?
Well, you're probably going to run something where you can clear a side for Jackson or get him in the middle of the floor. I doubt if they run a pick and roll because sometimes that brings an extra defender in the play. So look for them to try to get the ball to Jackson somewhere in the middle of the floor to create But here, Western Kentucky's in their 1-3-1 zone defense.
Causing UTSA to take some time off this clock. Wallace with a look. He got it! 2-point game. And now they can just play defense if they want. 16-second difference, shot clock and game clock.
Big shot. Very important that scorers don't get the ball back.
Hollingsworth's the scorer. He got fouled before Williams stuffed it home. And Hollingsworth's going to get 2 free throws with 29.6 seconds to go.
Hollingsworth was a little out of control here, but nice job of wrapping the ball up and attacking the big. But a huge defensive mistake. Western Kentucky trapped Wallace. Rawls was supposed to stay in the basic principles of a 1-3-1 defense. He left, and they allowed him to make a wide open 3.
That's 5 on Jacob Germany, who leaves with a double-double. 10 points, 10 rebounds, 4 of 6 from the floor. Now a timeout call before Hollingsworth's going to get a chance here. Now he's a great free throw shooter. Just under 85% on the season. That's 8th in Conference USA. 2 for 2 this afternoon.
I don't think you're going to see that 1-3-1 defense from Western Kentucky coming out of this timeout. And if you do, they're going to have to execute it much better than this last possession where they gave up a 3 to Savage.
If you're just joining us, this is the final game before bonus play begins in Conference USA next Saturday. North Texas beat Old Dominion. They're going to be the top seed. They're going to be in first place going into bonus play. Western Kentucky will be in second place as the second seed, but will they be 1 game out or 2 games out? If you can hang on and win this, you control your own fate. They will have to go, they being Western Kentucky, to North Texas in bonus play at some point. But if they win out, they'll be the regular season champion, and they haven't won a regular season championship since 2009. 2 shots for Hollingsworth. Used all of it. Western Kentucky fans in attendance. It's been that kind of year. Every one of these games coming down to the wire for the tops.
And when these games come down to the wire, you have to have a really good free throw shooting team, because both teams in the double bonus, you are going to get fouled.
And they are that top 10 of the country. Jackson missed it. Rebound Savage. Gets it to Hollingsworth, and he's fouled with 17.7 to go.
That's one of UTSA go-to plays where they run a dribble handoff trying to get Jackson to sprint out of the corner and use his speed, and he just elevates and gets his shot off. Unfortunately, he wasn't successful in that last attempt.
So 2 more for Tavion Hollingsworth. This is the front end of 2. Germany fouled out moments ago. Ooh, missed both. Now Wallace. Oh, great defense. Wallace gets around him, throws it up. Williams, a strong rebound. Goes out of bounds.
Western Kentucky ball. Oh.
They give it to UTSA, but with 5.3, they can obviously look at this.
They may have to review this one, yes.
So Williams sky high and then lost it on the way down. Hard to tell if Bior touched that. Yeah, I certainly can't tell from those looks, and certainly can't overturn anything at this point. That might have been last touch by Western Kentucky. As the call on the floor, it was Savage. Yeah. And they are looking at this. 5.3 seconds to go. If the call stands and UTSA keeps the ball, They'll have it with 5.3 left at a 4-point deficit.
Look how many guys we have on the floor. Four players on the floor. This means a lot
to both of these teams. Even though their spots in bonus play have basically been determined now, Western Kentucky will be the 2 seed in Group 1. UTSA will be in Group 2. They just don't know which seed they're going to be. They'll keep it with UTSA. So the call stands. We will find out the schedule for the remaining 4 games of the regular season tomorrow, early afternoon.
As Western Kentucky sets their defense, you do not want to foul a 3-point shooter. That's the worst thing that can happen here. You have to be disciplined. They're probably going to switch all of this action, but you do not want to foul a 3-point shooter.
Bell to inbound it, gets it to Jackson. He gets fouled. Jared Savage called for the foul, and it's going to be 3 free throws with 4.4 to go.
Yeah, they didn't execute their switching defense underneath the basket.
That free throw makes Javon Jackson the all-time leading scorer in UTSA history. And he'll get one more after this to try to cut it to 1 with 4.4 left. And UTSA calls a full timeout.
I know if you're Jackson, the record probably isn't as important, but if he had to break the record, which he's already done, he probably wanted to do it with a win, not a loss.
Well, they still have an opportunity here. The question is, with 1 free throw to go here, do you miss it on purpose, try to get the rebound, or do you make it, cut it to 1, and take your chances?
You got to try to miss it. Try to miss it. This is one of those drills you have in practice. You work on it over and over again, maybe at the end of practice. Try to use one of your big guys to cross screen, leave a little early to free up your teammate on the other side. There was a game recently with Duke where they was in this situation.
Yeah, I can't remember who they were playing. Oh, yeah, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, nobody's going to forget that if they're involved in that rivalry. And that was missed. It was kind of a line drive off the front of the iron.
To the right.
And then he was able to go out, get it himself, and send it to overtime with a long 2. And Duke eventually won that game in overtime. We're already in overtime here. 3rd consecutive overtime between UTSA and Western Kentucky.
Now this is a situation in West Kentucky. If Bassey was healthy, you could depend on him to get this rebound.
Yeah, do not have the size advantage. Carson Williams, the tallest hilltopper at 6'5". And Jackson with 1 more free throw. Let's see if he misses on purpose. He does, but he didn't hit the rim. He missed the rim. That's illegal. So Western Kentucky will get it up 2.
It's almost better to shoot it instead of trying to utilize that chest pass, push shot type of a strategy. It's better to try to shoot it off the side of the rim.
4.4 to go. Cameron Justice to inbounds. Hollingsworth fell down. That one out of bounds. And it will, they're going to look at it, but the original call is Western Kentucky's ball.
Yeah, but how did they not call that on Savage? That's a foul.
Well, that's a foul for sure.
That's a foul.
Keaton Wallace grabbed Tavion Hollingsworth and threw him down. And then here's the inbounds. He said that was off of Makani Whiteside and not Jared Savage. It looked like it hit the foot of Whiteside and went out of bounds.
And sometimes from a strategy standpoint, it's almost better to run 3 guys towards the baseline and then send somebody long and throw a long pass.
Had the back of Savage's jersey And it hits
hits
Whiteside's knee and goes out of bounds. So that looks like the right call. So with 3.6 to go, Western Kentucky will again have to inbound right in front of the UTSA bench.
Yeah, and even if Savage would have caught that ball, probably would have pushed him out of bounds, traveled. That's a danger zone. You never want to press offense past the ball in the danger zone.
This is a tough area to inbound. Savage has it. And finally foul with 0.9 to go. 2 shots for Jared Savage with a strong double-double in this one. 22 points, 16 rebounds. And UTSA needs at least 1 miss and a miracle.
And there's so much pressure on the inbounder in that situation, not just the player trying to get open to secure the ball, but the inbounder that's making the pass.
Timeout called with 0.9 to go, and 1 more free throw coming from Jared Savage. So now you make it, you're up 4, game's over. You miss it, and it's still pretty much a less than 1% chance that UTSA would have, because they would have to shoot the ball as soon as they get the rebound from 90 feet away.
Yeah, it's like playing the lottery. Yeah, if he misses it, game over.
And if he makes it,
game over.
So it's pretty much game over.
But what a game.
And what a game for Jared Savage. A career high 16 rebounds to go along with 23 points. He made 4 of his 6 three-point attempts, and they were all in huge moments. Four-point deficit. That'll do it. Western Kentucky survives in overtime. 3 consecutive overtime battles with UTSA, and the Hilltoppers have won all of them. Javon Jackson, in a losing effort, becomes the school's all-time leading scorer with 27 points. And let's look at the updated standings with Western Kentucky remaining a game behind North Texas. They're now 11-3 in conference play. North Texas at 12-2 will host Western Kentucky at some point during bonus play. UTSA will still be in Group 2 in bonus play. They've guaranteed themselves a trip to the Conference USA tournament. Not everybody makes it. Only 12 of the 14 teams make it. Rick Stansbury relieved once again as they get tested again and pass that test again. Grit, gut, determination. Outside dog, not inside dogs. He's got a bunch of outside dogs.
Yeah, no puppies allowed, Coach Stansbury said. And very impressive. We talked about them needing to get 4 guys in double figures, and they were successful in accomplishing that goal.
Ashley Holder is with Rick Stansbury and Jared Savage, who had a career game. And oh, Rick can talk, can he?
We're going to talk about him right now. Coach is deja vu all over again. Another overtime, and this team was never wavered. They were tested, and in the end, you still got it done. How were you able to get it done tonight?
Well, when you have guys like this standing beside you, that's how you win. That's how you win on the road. Toughness. That guy there he keeps this whole team together. You saw late in that game when there was a rebound that had to be gotten, who went and got it. Wasn't easy. San Antonio was a really good team. You know, Wallace and Jackson jumped up and made more plays the second half. I think the key was we didn't let those other guys beat us today, and that was really important to us. We didn't shoot it very well, but we haven't shot it very well many games. But we found enough ways to score points to find ways to win.
And speaking of that, you were talking about the defense. How happy are you with your defense tonight? You said they went out, they got those rebounds that were needed.
Well, again, that's toughness. You know, we're not the biggest team. We don't look like a team we get off the bus sometimes. But as we've said, you can't underestimate the toughness and the will of this team that we have. And that's how you win on the road.
All right, thanks, Coach. You said I was a prophet earlier, so congratulations.
You were a prophet. I appreciate that.
No problem. All right, we're with Jared Savage now. 24 points and 16 rebounds. You actually played like a Savage tonight. What was working for you?
I mean, I knew Jackson and Wallace was going to take a lot of long shots, and there was going to be a lot of long rebounds. So just keep my man off the glass and just go fight the other people and go get it, really.
Well, that's what Coach said, that you were on both ends of the court. What would you say about this team? You guys never wavered. Like I asked him earlier, you guys were tested. What does it say about this team to come into this facility and get this big-time win?
It's always hard to win on the road, especially against a team like San Antonio, but we got some dogs in that locker room. They got a big heart. Like Coach said, we're not really intimidating, get off the bus, but we got some big hearts, so we're going to win a lot of games like that.
It's not over with, but how you plan on celebrating this win to end the regular season?
Yeah, I can't wait to get back to the crib and celebrate tonight.
You going to tell us what you're going to do?
No, I can't tell you that.
All right, congratulations, Jared. Chris?
Yeah, actually, I would say a few TikTok videos, definitely some pizza, as they go into bonus play as the #2 seed in the top group right behind North Texas. They hit 25 free throws. They hit 15 more free throws than UTSA attempted and win it 77-73. They gut it out once again. With Avery Johnson, I'm Chris Hassel here courtside. It's kind of what we thought we'd see, a tight game, both teams wanting it, and Western Kentucky just doing what they've been doing all season, winning tight games.
I'm really impressed with the relentless pursuit of success for Western Kentucky. They knew they really needed this game. They have some really big goals for this year. They're trying to make it to the tournament. I'm impressed by their ball handling and their passing ability. They limited their turnovers on the road, which is hard to do. And when you can minimize your turnovers, get shots at the basket, attempt 32 free throws, convert 25 of them, get 4.5 guys in double figures. It's just very impressive, the toughness and the passion and the relentlessness that they played with today.
Only 8 turnovers in this game, and the leading scorer, Jared Savage, 24 points, 16 rebounds, and huge buckets when they needed it. So many times you see these threes going down with the shot clock winding down, big rebounds, one of those on the offensive end.
He was just the most complete player on the court today. He did it all. He had a balance in his game. He had a bounce in his step. And when you're making threes and you're offensive rebounding and finishing inside, that puts pressure on defenses, and that puts pressure on even a scouting report. Because I guarantee you, when UTSA came into this game, they only primarily talked about minimizing his success from behind the three-point line. Not as much talk probably about him offensive rebounding and scoring inside. And he was also excellent on defense.
No question about it. So now it's Western Kentucky getting the 2 seed in the top group, North Texas securing the top seed. Western Kentucky's going to have to go to North Texas. We've seen both of those teams. That's going to be a good one. They met earlier this season. Western came from 15 down and beat North Texas. We'll find out coming up. For Avery Johnson, Ashley Holder, and our entire CBS Sports Network crew, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network on Facebook Watch.